We wake each morning believing we have chosen the day ahead, but in truth of what we call choice is the echo of yesterday. The arguments you find yourself in, the relationships you keep attracting, the quiet self-doubt that appears at the same moments. These are not random accidents. They are the architecture of an unseen prison, built from beliefs you never questioned and wounds you never healed. It's comfortable in its familiarity, but that comfort is a trap. You tell yourself you are simply this way, as though personality is destiny, but often what you call your nature is just the survival pattern you learned long ago. This prison has no bars, no guards, no visible locks, yet it holds you tighter than steel. And here is the hard truth: no one is coming to unlock the door for you. No friend, no mentor, no miracle will do it. The key has always been in your hand, but it is hidden in the dark places of your own mind. Jung understood this, that the cycles we cannot see are the ones that enslave us most. You do not escape them by running further or by distracting yourself with business. You escape them by turning inward, by daring to see what you have been avoiding. The walls of this prison are made of the parts of you you refuse to confront. The moment you are willing to look at them without flinching, cracks begin to form. Light starts to enter. And with each act of self-awareness, the structure weakens, until the whole thing collapses, and you step out into a life no longer dictated by the ghosts of your past. We spend our lives trying to be the version of ourselves we think the world will accept. Polished, composed, admirable. We wear masks so long that we forget what our own face looks like. But beneath that mask lives everything we've pushed away, the rage we were told was unacceptable, the fear we were shamed for feeling, the envy we denied because good people shouldn't have it. All of it sinks into the depths of the psyche, forming what Jung called the shadow. The shadow does not disappear simply because we refuse to look at it. It waits. And in its waiting, it acts, quietly shaping our choices, our moods, our relationships. We think we are avoiding the darkness, but in truth, it is steering us from behind. The cruel remark you blurt out in anger, the subtle ways you sabotage your own success, the magnetism you feel toward people who will hurt you, all are the shadow trying to make itself known. Facing it feels dangerous because it means admitting we are not only who we pretend to be. But the shadow is not here to destroy you. It is here to complete you. It holds the very traits and energies you need to break free from the cycles that imprison you. When you meet it, speak to it, and integrate it, you reclaim your full self. And with that wholeness comes a strange liberation, because you are no longer at war with yourself. You do not have to keep repeating the same patterns to express what you could not face directly. The moment you hold the shadow's gaze without turning away, the cycle begins to break. We treat pain like an intruder, something to push away, medicate, or outrun. We label it as unfair, as if life has singled us out for some cruel punishment. But pain is not a sentence passed down from the universe. It is a signal. It is your soul knocking on the door, asking you to pay attention to what you have ignored for too long. Every cycle that traps you is reinforced by the lessons you refuse to learn, and pain is the language life uses when whispers are no longer enough. You see, wounds are not just injuries, they are maps. They point directly to the places where your growth is waiting. If you keep finding yourself in the same heartbreak, the same financial struggle, the same patterns of self-betrayal, it is not because you are cursed. It is because life is trying, again and again, to teach you the same truth until you finally understand it. When you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and instead ask, "What is this trying to show me?" the dynamic changes. Pain becomes a teacher rather than a jailer. You start to see that the thing you've been avoiding contains the very key to your freedom. And though the lesson may burn, it forges you into someone who can finally step beyond the loop. When you let pain educate you rather than define you, it stops needing to repeat itself. The cycle ends not because life has grown softer, but because you have grown wiser. Most people try to break their cycles by changing their circumstances. A new job, a new city, a new relationship. But no matter where they go, the same struggles follow, because they have brought themselves along. The real escape is not out there in the world, it is inward. Jung called this process individuation, the lifelong task of becoming your whole self. Not the self you present to others, not the self you wish you were, but the self that contains every truth you've been unwilling to face. Individuation is not about perfection. It is about integration. It is taking the scattered pieces, your joy and your grief, your courage and your fear, your light and your shadow, and bringing them into one coherent whole. Every time you deny a part of yourself, you create a fracture, and in those fractures, cycles are born. The arguments you keep having, the choices you regret making, the emotions you can't control, they all feed on the energy of your fragmentation. When you begin to integrate, something changes. You stop being predictable to yourself. The old triggers lose their power because you are no longer just the sum of your defenses. You become someone who can meet life with all your resources, not just the ones you've deemed acceptable. And that's why individuation is the true escape route. Because it dismantles the machinery of the cycle from within. Once you have reclaimed every lost part of yourself, there is nothing left for the old patterns to feed on. You walk forward not as a role you're playing, but as a person who is whole, and therefore free. Your past is powerful, but it is not a prophecy. Too many people live as though yesterday has already written the rest of their lives. As if their mistakes, their traumas, and their failures have sealed their fate. But the truth is, the past is only a story. It is not a chain, it is not a sentence, and it is not the whole of who you are. You are the storyteller now, and at any moment, you can choose to write a different chapter. Yes, the past shaped you. It carved certain reflexes into your heart, trained you to expect certain outcomes, and taught you ways of surviving that may no longer serve you. But you are not obligated to keep living as the person you had to become when you didn't know better. The self that endured those moments was built for survival. The self you can become now is built for freedom. Breaking the cycle means daring to live without the comfort of the familiar, even when that familiarity is made of pain. It means stepping into the unknown, where there is no well-worn path to follow, and trusting that you can walk without repeating the same steps. The patterns that once defined you will dissolve the moment you stop feeding them with the belief that you are bound to them. You are not the echo of your past, you are the voice of your future. And when you fully believe that, the cycle will not just break, it will shatter, leaving you standing in the open, ready to live a life that is truly your own. So, look at your life. Where are you walking in circles? What voice is calling you to step out? Break the cycle, not because the past was wrong, but because the future deserves more than a repetition of yesterday.